The scene shifts to Jetfire, who is standing on the landing strip atop the Nemesis, overlooking the Earth below. Starscream ascends the elevator, accompanied by Megatron.
Jetfire, here you are.
It's so different than Cybertron. So little metal, and so diverse in climate. It was frigid where I crashed, while here it's like standing near a smelting pit.
Yes, quite. Jetfire, allow me to introduce my leader, Megatron.
Starscream has told me much about you, Jetfire. I welcome you to my ship, the Nemesis, and to the ranks of the Decepticons.
Forgive me, Megatron, sir, but I am unsure if I will join your ranks. Starscream has told me about your war with the Autobots, but I am not a soldier. I've never fought a battle in my life.
Not all among our ranks were when the war began, Jetfire. Even I, who gained glory in the pits of Kaon, was once a mere laborer. And aside from that, there are plenty of opportunities for those who are less adept in combat.
That is all well and good, but why should I declare for either side in this conflict? I have no stake in it. Imagine, if you would, this scene being similar to when Megatron manipulated a mind-wiped Optimus Prime in the Transformers Prime Season 2 premiere, Orion Pax. Much like Orion in that scene, upon being shown Cybertron's destruction and learning that the late Optimus Prime had doomed Cybertron by destroying the Allspark, as Megatron does not yet know that the Energon deposits are a result of the Allspark's energy dispersing, not being utterly destroyed, Jetfire swears to aid Megatron in whatever way he can.
Been a captive of the Autobots and locked in stasis for quite some time, Orion. Long enough for us to be in Exodus on another world. Exodus? Why? Because the warlord Ratchet's careless actions led to this. Cybertron.
He also asks the same question that Orion does about being called Decepticons, and Megatron gives the same answer.
One question, Megatron. Why are we called Decepticons? Another craven Autobot scare tactic. The name was meant to demonize us. Instead, we wear it as a badge of honor. For if speaking the truth is deception, then we are gladly guilty.
Satisfied that Jetfire will be loyal to his cause, Megatron leaves the landing deck.
I'm pleased that you saw reason, old friend.
Yes. Forgive me, Starscream, but I need some time. This is a lot to process.
Of course, Jetfire. Take whatever time you need.
Jetfire begins to transform, but Starscream stops him.
Before you go, you may wish to take on an Earth vehicle mode to avoid any unwanted attention.
Right.
No need to worry. I had Soundwave select a few options I thought would suit you.
The scene shifts to Megatron stepping onto the bridge. Soundwave is staring at the console.
Megatron, plateau is secure. Excellent, Soundwave. Scrapper, take your men and begin mining.
By your order, my liege.
Additional information, Megatron. Strange readings from the largest pyramid. What sort of readings? Cybertronian.
Megatron looks at the readings for a moment, a look of curiosity stretching across his face. Starscream enters the bridge.
Attend me, Starscream.
My lord?
Soundwave has made a discovery, one of Cybertronian origin. I intend to discover its nature for myself.
Naturally, Lord Megatron, but should I not remain in command here?
So you can take my energon and my ship and leave me stranded in this desert? I think not, Starscream. I want you where I can keep my eyes on you.
Starscream glares at Megatron before bowing. As he bows, A slight smirk appears on his face.
As you wish, Master.
Back with the Autobots, Stratosphere arrives in Egyptian airspace. Sam and Carly have made their way into the cockpit and are looking down at the Sahara far below. I always wanted to visit Egypt. Never thought I'd be here on a mission to save the world, though. Carly jokes that this is the second time the two of them have helped to save the world. Yeah. Not as glorious as I thought it'd be, though. The world doesn't even know it was ever in danger. They'll never know what the Autobots, what Optimus, has done for it. Carly embraces him. She says that they'll bring Optimus back. I hope so. But I don't know what we'll do without him. Not just us and the Autobots, everyone. Jazz is doing his best, but he's not Optimus. Ironhide didn't listen to him and got captured. The twins question his every order. If they can't work as a team, the Decepticons are going to win the war. And Earth will pay the consequences. The two sit in silence for a moment. Suddenly, a Cybertronian energy signature appears on Stratosphere's instruments. What's that?
A signature? I didn't recognize it, though.
Sam peers out the windscreen to see if he can catch a glimpse of the approaching Cybertronian. A red and white jet comes into view. A jet with a Decepticon insignia on its nose cone.
It's a Decepticon! Hold tight! Jazz, we've got company!
In the bay, the Autobots ready their weapons. The energy signature pops up on Ratchet's scanner. He syncs with Stratosphere's instruments, and the signature registers as a Decepticon.
Does this giant junk heap have weapons?
This junk heap is still a soldier, lad, or had you forgotten?
Open fire, Stratosphere. We don't want Megatron learning we're here.
For Cybertron!
Outside, the POV changes to Jetfires. His instruments have not been tuned to the faction signatures, which are determined by nanotechnology in the insignias. Thus, they serve as both a visual and extrasensory confirmation of alignment, preventing accidents like friendly fire while being a double-edged sword by also allowing the enemy to prepare. Cloaking and dampener technology can hide energy signatures, and a specific type of Cybertronian called a spy changer can actually change their energy signature. For example, Punch Counterpunch from G1, Shockwave Longarm from Animated, or Makeshift from Transformers Prime, though the latter is more a spy changer pretender hybrid.
Another Cybertronian, out here? No, several others. The large one is carrying others. I wonder if they're on our side. Our side? Wish I didn't have a side.
Stratosphere nears Jetfire and opens fire, causing the confused Decepticon to take evasive maneuvers.
Not on our side, slag!
He continues dodging the barrage of blaster fire.
Please, stop firing! I mean you no harm! Yeah!
Slag, slag, slag! Wait, this form has weapons. Oh, Primus. He aims his built-in machine guns at Stratosphere and opens fire. The giant Autobot is unable to dodge, but is made of stern enough stuff that he can tank the hits. The impact does shake his passengers up, though.
Stratosphere, return fire! Time for the big guns!
Stratosphere opens up a missile barrage in Jetfire's direction. The hapless jet only has time to offer a weak, "Oh, slag," before being shot down. He spirals out of sight, vanishing into the desert below.
He probably won't be the last. Stratosphere, take us in for a landing.
Aye, lad.
The gigantic Autobot lands amidst the sands of Egypt and opens his bay door. Jazz turns to face the Autobots and their human allies, who have left the cockpit.
Closer we get to the plateau, more decons we're likely to bump into. That's probably a scout, and they'll send someone to find out where he went. We should split up. B, twins, take Sam and Carly. Find the place the Matrix showed Sam, then signal us. We'll come in, fight off the cons, and revive Prime. Till then, we'll fly around, get the cons off your tail.
The Autobots load up once more as B, the twins, and the humans exit. Stratosphere takes off. After he's out of sight, the trio transform and roll out. Back at the Giza Plateau, Megatron and Starscream land next to the Great Pyramid. As they approach the colossal structure, they stare up at it. Megatron's eyes focus, and he steps forward. He places a hand on the side of the pyramid, and what looks like sandstone begins to tessellate, being revealed to be Cybertronium, not Transformium. Dumbest name ever makes unobtainium sound creative. The tessellating metal shapes itself into a great doorway. As it forms, a hologram of one of the ancient primes appears.
This machine has recognized the energy signature of a descendant of the line of primes.
At this, Starscream glances up at Megatron, who is unsurprised.
The doors of this tomb stand open for a child of the primes, but be wary. A great evil lies herein. Do not disturb it,
lest you unleash death upon the inhabitants of this world, till all are one. The hologram vanishes, and ancient cyberglyphics materialize on the surface of the door. Megatron peers at the glyphs. A glimmer of recognition flashes through his eyes, and he presses them in succession. As he does, the doors open.
How did you know that would work? And why did he call you a child of the Primes?
Do you know nothing of history, Starscream? All living Cybertronians are descended from the ancient Primes. 12 of them, at least. The 13th was sealed away before the first generation of our kind emerged from the well of all sparks. As for the glyphs, well, I learned how to read them long before the war.
You know the language of the Primes.
Why do you think I was able to open the old spark?
But how? Where did you learn to do that?
Megatron pauses and glances downward for a moment. Then he replies,
From an old friend.
He strides forward, entering the mysterious chamber. Hesitantly, Starscream follows him. The pair navigate a series of puzzles intended to keep the pyramid's inhabitant in, and everyone else out. This sequence will allow for more character moments from both Megatron and Starscream, as it is told from their points of view. Imagine a classic Indiana Jones or the Mummy film, but starring a pair of Decepticons instead of archaeologists and treasure seekers. Eventually, they reach the main tomb, which is sealed by an imposing door. A great seal lies on the door. Megatron gazes at the seal and touches it. He notices an indentation, shaped like the Matrix.
Fascinating. Perhaps we should wait until the Autobots arrive for their ally.
I do not trust the Autobots to live up to their end of the bargain. Nor do I intend to live up to mine.
He charges up his fusion cannon and aims it at the doorway.
You may wish to stand back, Starscream.
He does not wait for his lieutenant to do as he says, as he fires an unbroken beam from his cannon. The door begins to glow red as Megatron melts his way through. This demonstrates how much raw power the fusion cannon possesses, far more than a standard blaster. It's as if Megatron, as Doc Ock once said, holds the power of the sun in the palm of his hand. Fusion cannons are, or were, experimental technology on Cybertron, and Megatron possesses the sole portable version ever made. All thanks to a certain one-eyed Decepticon scientist we'll meet in the next movie, who has his own insanely powerful cannon on his arm. The blast breaks through the seal, causing the door to explode inward. As the dust settles, Megatron and Starscream step into the opening. Screamer gazes at the melted slag that was once a door, coming to realize for the first time in 2,000 years just how powerful Megatron truly is. Because remember, Megatron was absent for 1,000 of those years, and had never turned his full power on his minions. And by extension, how strong Optimus Prime must have been in order to survive all but one fight against the Decepticon tyrant. He wonders if his new ally is truly powerful enough to help him overthrow Megatron. This great chamber is inhabited by what appears to be twisted trees of metal surrounding a pool of glowing blue liquid, similar to Energon but far more potent. Upon closer inspection, the trees are revealed to be pure, uncontained cyber matter. The pool feeds this metal oasis as if it were water. At the far end of the pool, there is a massive sarcophagus wrought out of black metal. Megatron steps forward onto an unseen panel on the floor. A console rises from the ground, transforming like everything else in the tomb had. Among the various switches and buttons is one marked Release in Old Cybertronian. Megatron glances at the sarcophagus, then back at the console.
I wonder what fearsome power lies within, that the Primes were so eager to seal away. Wait, could it be? Is this his final resting place? Is this where the Fallen was imprisoned?
The Fallen? I thought he was a myth. A bogeyman like Unicron, the Chaos Bringer.
Oh, he is very real. The 13th Prime. Exiled from Cybertron for his deeds, his true name stricken even from the data tracks of Vector Sigma, eventually hunted down and sealed away forevermore by his brothers and sister. It is said that he was the greatest of them, that he possessed power unseen since the dawning of the Golden Age.
Power that now lies in your grasp, mighty Megatron.
A wicked grin stretches across Starscream's face as he speaks.
Power enough to crush the Autobots, once and for all.
More than that, look at this chamber, Starscream. Pure cyber matter, fed by this strange energon. With this, I can restore Cybertron.
Brilliant, my liege, brilliant. You will be heralded as the hero of Cybertron, the savior of our race, the restorer, the conqueror, the magnificent.
Save your speech for my victory, Starscream. Before I can claim my accolades, I must learn all I can about this place. And where better to find such knowledge than sealed away within the mind of the fallen?
Upon saying this, Megatron presses the release button. A holographic passcode prompt appears. As he had on the door, Megatron arranges the symbols in order. The chamber takes on a bluish glow as energon is pumped through tubes towards the sarcophagus. The casket begins to glow with an eerie orange light as it opens. The figure within resembles the Fallen's appearance in the actual film, a thin, skeletal being. Orange eyes come to life in the corpse-like figure's face, and a strange fiery glow emanates from within his chest. Megatron and Starscream watch, transfixed as the Fallen emerges from his tomb. He shambles forwards like a reanimated mummy, nearing the glowing pool. With every step, he groans in pain. He comes to a stop at the edge of the pool and stares up at his audience. He then leads forward and falls into the strange liquid. The glow of the pool grows in intensity, and a great blue light erupts from it, a light that swiftly changes from blue to orange. The light subsides, and the Fallen emerges, but he looks different. No longer is he the thin, zombie-like figure from the film. Instead, he resembles his Dreamwave comic appearance, a tall, imposing figure, covered in armor and wreathed in a perpetual flame. He exits the pool, rising to his full height, which towers over even Megatron.
At last, I return to life.
For the first time since leaving the pits of Kaon, Megatron feels fear and awe that he is unable to mask. Starscream is so overwhelmed that he falls to his knees. The Fallen gazes at the pair and chuckles wickedly.
I congratulate you on navigating my tomb, and thank you for freeing me. In exchange for your deeds,
He pauses and looks to Starscream.
I will grant you that which you desire above all.
Extending his hand outward, the Fallen launches a ball of hellfire at Megatron, who is thrown backwards. When he makes impact with the wall, he dents it. Though taken by surprise, Megatron is only barely injured.
I had hoped to learn from you. It seems I shall be forced to glean my knowledge from your corpse.
He aims his fusion cannon at the Ancient Prime and fires. The blast doesn't even stagger the Fallen, who chuckles and transforms his own arm into a cannon. He returns fire on Megatron, who dodges out of the way of the onslaught.
Prideful fool, you cannot hope to best a Prime. I've already slain one Prime this decacycle. You will be no different.
Dodging another barrage of hellfire, Megatron unsheathes his blade and mace and charges at the Fallen. The ancient demigod draws his own fiery blades and meets the challenge. Megatron, of course, was once a renowned gladiator. As such, he more than holds up in hand-to-hand combat, even against the Fallen. The Fallen, however, is no slouch himself. After all, it took the might of the other 12 primes to best him all those millennia ago, and not all of them survived the conflict. R.I.P. Solus Prime. The fight continues, with Starscream taking cover behind a pillar of cybermatter. Once more, he wonders whether the Fallen will be able to defeat Megatron, as the Decepticon leader has proven more resilient than expected. Even the Fallen looks impressed with Megatron's skill. Impressed, but not intimidated. Megatron's face showcases the same amount of determination it always has, though the typical arrogance has somewhat faded. As the chamber is destroyed by the battling Titans, it reforms itself around them. Starscream takes note of this, realizing that Megatron was right about one thing. If anything could restore Cybertron, It was whatever this strange energon pool was. At an infinitesimal rate, Megatron begins to slow. The Fallen, however, does not. Eventually, Megatron makes a fatal mistake, allowing the Ancient Prime an opening. Fallen draws his blaster once more and blasts the Decepticon leader point blank. Megatron flies backwards, this time falling to the ground in front of the open sarcophagus. The Fallen walks up to him as the Decepticon attempts to rise to his feet.
You are skilled, Megatron of Kaon, and strong for a descendant of my brethren. I can find use for you in my empire. Your empire? Yes, you belong to me now. Megatron belongs to nobody. We shall see.
The Fallen grabs Megatron by the throat and slams him into the sarcophagus.
Let us see if a little time in stasis lock changes your mind.
Megatron is unable to break free, letting out a final
No!
before the sarcophagus closes on him. The Fallen then turns to Starscream.
I see you do not have the Matrix yet, Starscream.
No, my Lord Fallen. Not yet. I tried to tell Megatron to wait until the Autobots arrive.
I am not angry. I was freed sooner than expected. Now the Matrix can be delivered to me directly.
What of him?
Megatron will remain in stasis until he is willing to bow to my whims.
But what of our deal? You said
That leadership of the Decepticons would be yours, and it will be. I do not intend to restore Megatron to any semblance of leadership. No. But to waste a warrior such as he would be foolish. No, once his will is beholden to my own, he will join the ranks of my warriors. The Decepticons, however, are yours, Lord Starscream.
Lord Starscream does sound appropriate.
Return to your troops then, your grace, and once the Autobots arrive, inform me, so I may claim my prize.
The Fallen walks over to the console and enters a code. A platform appears that takes him and Starscream to a higher layer of the pyramid. The platform comes to a stop in what resembles a throne room. The Ancient Prime walks over to the throne and sits upon it as the room tessellates around him. Outside, the other Decepticons watch as the pyramid begins to slough off its stone surface and transform into a great metal version of itself. At the top, a strange spire appears.
In turning my ship into a prison, my brothers unintentionally made me the perfect palace from which to rule my new empire.
Your ship?
The primitive humans who once inhabited this land built their pyramidal structures over the remnants of my ship, and my brethren assisted them in their reconstruction. Little did they imagine that I would emerge from my imprisonment and turn their prison into the seat of my power. Now go, Starscream.
The Seeker Commander obeys and returns to the Nemesis. The Fallen leans back in his throne as a series of holographic displays appear before him. A console with a similar indentation to his tomb door arrives from the floor. Over this console appears an image of Earth's sun.
Once the Matrix is mine, I will have my revenge on this pitiful planet. And once this world is destroyed, Cybertron will kneel before me, or face my wrath.
His eyes glow even more intensely than they already had as he clenches his fist. This scene cements the Fallen's plan and emphasizes how much of a fool Starscream is. He was promised leadership of the Decepticons, but didn't read the fine print, as it were. Yes, he will rule the Decepticons, but the Fallen will rule Cybertron. Meaning, be it Megatron or the Fallen, the Seeker Commander will always be a slave to someone greater. Starscream lands on the Nemesis and is greeted by Soundwave.
Starscream, verify location of Megatron.
Ah, Soundwave. It is with heavy heart that I report that Megatron has been slain.
Soundwave is silent for a moment, his expressionless visor staring into Starscream's soul. Despite his victory, Starscream still finds himself intimidated by the Decepticon spymaster.
Explain.
There were traps in the pyramid. Deadly traps placed by ancient primes. Lord Megatron was unfortunate to fall victim to one of them. His final wish was that I should succeed him as supreme leader of the Decepticons.
Soundwave continues staring at Starscream silently.
My first order, continue mining the Energon. We will need all the resources we need to win the war and crush the Autobots.
Affirmative.
Ah, excellent. Well, I should go inform the rest of the troops.
Information regarding Jetfire.
Jetfire? What is it?
Jetfire has not reported in nearly 2 megacycles. Laserbeak is scanning desert for him.
Report to me when you find him, Soundwave. He and I were only just reunited. I will not lose him again.
Affirmative.
From there we catch up with Bumblebee, the twins, and the humans. This bit is somewhat similar to what's in the actual movie, just eschewing Simmons and Leo, and not as drawn out. I'm sure some are wondering what happened to Simmons after the first film in the rewrite. All I can say is wait for Dark of the Moon. The first bit of this is a montage, which ends with a scene similar to Sam and Michaela's romantic chat in the original movie. Unlike that scene, however, the point of this one isn't that Sam won't say I love you. Instead, Sam and Carly wonder if they'll ever be free of the Autobot-Decepticon war, and if they ever want to be free of it. The Autobots have become like a family to them, and they want to see the Decepticons lose, not just so they'll leave Earth. In many ways, the two of them have come to believe in Optimus's credo, and Carly even repeats Prime's saying of freedom is the right of all sentient beings. We'll assume that he said it to them at some point between the last movie and this one. Carly also says that whatever Sam chooses to do, she'll be at his side through it all. Yay, romance! But what this scene was sorely lacking in the original film was characterization for the Autobots. Bumblebee and the twins were technically present in the middle section of the film, but aside from Skids and Mudflap acting like absolute morons, they didn't do anything. You could have told me that the 3 vehicles were completely mundane cars, and I would have believed you. One thing I appreciated in Rise of the Beasts was seeing the bots talk in vehicle mode. I liked that movie. It was flawed, but 1,000 times better than this garbage. We see Bumblebee staring up at the starry sky. Over his radio, he replays lines that Optimus said, trying to comfort himself because Prime is not present. One conversation that he plays is one the audience has not seen before, a chat that Optimus and Bumblebee had had just before Tiger Pax, when B lost his voice.
Ironhide will be at my side in the Citadel. Jazz will take my place at the command post, directing the battle, and Ratchet will be on standby there as well. That leaves the role of field commander to you, Bumblebee.
But I've never commanded a unit before, Prime. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Nor did I, Bumblebee, when I was first given the Matrix. But someone had to stand against the Decepticons, and that role fell to me.
But the Matrix chose you. It saw something in your spark. I don't have that something. I doubt I ever will.
Fate rarely calls upon us at a moment of our choosing, Bumblebee. But it is up to us to choose what we will do with that fate. Will you continue to doubt and allow your men to be swept towards defeat because of said doubt? Or will you seize what fate has called you to do? I trust that you will choose the right path, Bumblebee. Come to me once you have made your decision. Whichever it is, I will honor it.
Bumblebee touches his throat. He knows that he made the right choice eventually. Without him and his fallen squad, Megatron would have gotten his claws on the Allspark, and no one would have been able to stop him. Yet he was the only one of that squad who survived, and he had paid for it with his voice. The radio served its purpose as a method of communication, but joining disjointed words together to form a thought was not the same as speaking in one's own voice. Yet he knew he would sacrifice more if it meant Megatron and the others were defeated. He had been scared in that conversation with Optimus, but he knew even then what the right choice was. His weak arguments were more for himself than for Optimus. Even still, Optimus had given him the exact wisdom he had needed. He hopes that Sam's vision was correct, and that they'll be able to revive Optimus. Jazz, though a skilled commander and a good friend, lacks the inspiring nature that Prime had. Essentially, if the Matrix solely looked for a good heart and a warrior's discipline, Jazz would be a prime candidate, as would Ultra Magnus in the G1 movie. But Optimus had something else. The Captain America effect, I've heard it called. The ability not only to lead, but to inspire. Optimus doesn't just regurgitate wisdom and knowledge like an encyclopedia, he imparts it like a teacher. And when he corrects, he does it not just as a commander, but as a parent or parental friend. Bumblebee's reverie is interrupted by the sound of the twins bickering.
I'm telling you, bro, this whole thing is scrap metal. Dragging ourselves to the sandy smelting pit because the Hume had a breakdown. It's like that, Sunstreaker. If you can bring Prime back, I'll be happy. Fragging Jazz thinks some glowing piece of jewelry is more important than Ironhide. That's what I'm more mad about. Ironhide should have taken command. He'd have figured something out by now. Ironhide's an idiot. He wouldn't have got himself captured. I wouldn't follow him or Jazz if Primus himself told me to. You're right that Jazz should have given Starscream that Matrix, though. Maybe we'd have been able to frag Screamer while he was distracted. And put Ironhide in more danger? Are you fritzing the processor? Like I said, Ironhide's an idiot. He shouldn't have gotten himself captured in the first place. So you'd let him get fragged. Not my preferred outcome, but... But nothing, bro. We're not Decepticons. We don't work like that. Well, if Optimus hadn't gone and gotten himself fragged, we wouldn't have to. Too far, bro. I'm saying how it is. Not my fault that how it is a pile of scrap. Enough! The twins jump at Bumblebee using Optimus's voice, as if Optimus's ghost had come back from the dead just to chastise them. When they see it's Bumblebee, they relax slightly. But B isn't done with them yet.
Sideswipe, Sunstreaker. Dissent will not be tolerated. We have a mission to complete. We must work together.
Cheap ploy, using Prime's voice. Shut up, bro. B's right. We can't be fighting like this. Megatron's already got us in the back foot. If Sam's vision was right, we'll bring Prime back. And that's a big if. I'm not fighting with you anymore. Sideswipe transforms and drives a little ways away before transforming back to robot mode and seating himself on a dune. Sunstreaker grumbles to himself and faces away from Bumblebee, who lets out a whirring sigh. As morning breaks, the team rolls out. The first little bit is uneventful, but then a Decepticon energy signature appears on Bumblebee's scanner. He allows Sam and Carly to exit and transforms. Wait, here. He unfolds his arm cannon and stalks a ways forward, serving his role as a scout. As he crests a sand dune, he sees an injured Jetfire attempting to patch himself up. Ow! Slag! I told Megatron I wasn't suited for war. I'm a ruddy scholar, not a soldier. Just because weapons are strapped to this new mode of mine changes slag all. Ow! Bumblebee watches him for a minute before transforming his arm back to normal. He steps out, allowing himself to be heard. Jetfire raises his head and looks at him. He notices the Autobot insignia, prominent on his forehead. No, stay back! He aims the blowtorch he was using to weld himself back together. Bumblebee puts his hands up. Easy. I mean no harm. But you're an Autobot. I'm a Decepticon. The word is sickening on his tongue for reasons he can't explain. We don't kill injured. What's wrong with your voice? It changes every word. Are you damaged to something? Yes. Oh, sorry. Just because we're enemies doesn't mean I should be insensitive. When? Sorry? Bumblebee points at the insignia on Jetfire's chest. When? Oh, last solar cycle. Starscream found me frozen in a block of ice. He and I were friends a very long time ago. I've been stuck on this planet since before the war. The Decepticons woke me up and told me about the war. How you Autobots destroyed Cybertron. No offense. Wrong. Sorry? We didn't destroy home. They did. Ha! I suppose you would say that. Try to win me over to your side. Good try, old chap. B whirs in frustration. He laments being unable to relay everything he knows without the use of his voice. Jetfire notices the whirring and begins to think. What caused that? Your inability to speak normally? Torn out. Primus, that's brutal.
What happened? Did you upset your leader or something? He punish you? B gets an idea. He tunes his radio to play the audio from the Battle of Tiger Pax. As Jetfire hears Megatron terminate the Autobots and tear B's voice box out, his eyes widen in horror. He then hears the sadness in the Autobot voices as they discover Bumblebee's mangled body. That was Megatron. But he sounded so cruel. And to do something so savage, that was an undoctored recording. No splices, no skips. But they called themselves freedom fighters, not terrorists. Called Decepticons. Megatron said. A lie. A Decepticon lied. How could I have been so stupid? Come with us. And do what? I was shot down in my first firefight. I was easily manipulated by the first people who found me after 2,000 years. I'm a scholar, for Primus' sake! Not a soldier. He tears off the Decepticon insignia and throws it into the dirt. Bumblebee looks at him for a moment, and then plays Optimus's words to him.
Fate rarely calls upon us at a moment of our choosing, but it is up to us to choose what we will do with that fate. Will you continue to doubt, or will you seize what fate has called you to do? I trust that you will choose the right path. Come to me once you have made your decision. Whichever it is, I will honor it.
With that, the Autobot scout turns and walks back to the others, leaving Jetfire to his thoughts. Back with the Decepticons, the Energon is nearly all loaded onto the Nemesis. Starscream supervises from the landing strip, while Soundwave continues to scan the pyramid for Megatron. After glancing around and noticing that he is alone on the bridge, he presses a button on his shoulder.
Ravage, eject, Operation Reconnaissance.
Ravage emerges from Soundwave's chest and slinks off, his dark paint allowing him to blend into the shadows. We'll come back to him. Ironhide sits in his cell, watching his guards for a chance to escape. Bumblebee and the others near the Decepticon camp and look out over the plateau. Upon seeing the metal pyramid, the images flash through Sam's head once again, and he says that that's where they'll need to bring Optimus. Bumblebee sends a message to Jazz, and Stratosphere begins to close in. All well and good, but how the frag are we supposed to get Prime in there? Prime? How are we supposed to get ourselves in there? I can help on both counts. They turn to see Jetfire approaching. Though the twins are hesitant to trust him at first, Bumblebee is able to convince them that he's here to help. Sam trusts Bumblebee implicitly, and so adds his voice of assent. Unbeknownst to all of them, Laserbeak is watching from above, signaling to Soundwave that Jetfire is a turncoat. And with that, all the pieces are in place for the finale.